All right, first can you just say and spell your first and last name and then your title or position?
Adam Wood, ADAMWOOD, senior planner
With Toole Design?
with Toole Design.
Great. So first can you just briefly summarize, what's been the biggest observation of this project?
We have had a lot of people come in and share their ideas, share their thoughts, share their experiences navigating around this area. And one of the things that we hear quite a lot is that it can be confusing to navigate around. With the one-way streets, people often can get turned around. We heard a lot of people talk about visitors coming in, whether they're visiting family or if they're here for an event, such as all the whitewater events that happen really close to downtown, that can be really a challenge. Also, we heard a lot of people express opinions that the streets could be better utilized. A lot of times you have a lot of pavement that maybe we don't have as much traffic as that street really could handle. So perhaps we could use that to do something different. Make it a two-way street so you can get both directions, maybe add on-street parking, add bike lanes or some sort of other use for that pavement that's out there.
And what's just like your preliminary suggestions? What streets are you looking at changing into two-way streets and just kind of basically right now, what are you thinking of?
Now, our primary focus is to look at Washington Street on the north side of the mall, Forest on the south side, First Street, and then 6th Street on the west and east sides of the mall, respectively. Initially, in looking at those, we see the opportunity to actually do a two-way conversion on Forest and First Street. Now, that would obviously require reconsidering how the intersection with First and Washington and the Slough Bridge, as well as the intersection between Grand and 6th and Forest on both of them. The intersections would have to be reconsidered somehow. We'd have to figure out how to make a two-way street work. But a two-way street could work there because there's not as much traffic as all three lanes really could potentially carry. It's something worth considering. Again, we have all options on the table to figure out what really might work best, and that might open up the areas south of Forest for improved development, redevelopment opportunities. We're also looking at the potential for taking 5th Street and making that two-way and adding a two-way separated bike lane. 5th Street actually does not carry nearly as much traffic as you might think it does. It's not nearly as busy as 6th Street is. And so there's a great opportunity there to, in a very cost-effective way, make circulation in the downtown area better and make the downtown area better for people.
And do you have just, if you don't know right now, that's fine, those statistics from the streets, what was the busiest or maybe that you found?
Are you talking like how many cars per day
yeah.
are on the streets? Hannah's going to kill me for talking about traffic engineering. When we look at the traffic counts on the streets, it really looks like 6th Street heading north, and then the Slough Bridge coming Stewart and basically turns into Washington as you're crossing the river, and then turning south onto First and coming over onto Forest. Those have the higher amounts of traffic on them. It's really still a very manageable amount of traffic, though, for how big the streets are. So we don't see any need to widen any streets or add any more lanes to anything. In fact, there is an opportunity to change them a little bit. Generally speaking, though, it's less about how many cars are traveling longer distances along the street. It's really more about what's happening at the intersections where people are turning left and right and how all of that fits together.
So now, now you've had the presentation tonight, what's next? You're coming back in October, can you just talk to me?
I have to drive to Madison tonight, and I'm looking forward to that. Our next steps are to take the input we received tonight on this initial presentation. We go back to our offices, freshen things up, fix maybe some changes that people might have recommended, some things we might not have fully thought out and just had some rough ideas at this point, to clean it all up into a more polished first glance at some of the issues. We then will be back here in Wausau in a few weeks, middle of October, to take a more in-depth look at some of the potential solutions that we've identified and think more about really the specific challenges and the details and figure it out. At the end of the day, we're not going to have engineering plans that you could then hand to a contractor to build, but we will have a really good, highly confident assessment of what some of the opportunities are for how things could be configured around Wausau Center.
Okay. And I had asked Mayor Milky this, he said that you did know about the YMCA Spires expansion and all the projects going on just a few blocks downtown as well. Is any of that construction affecting, these street reconfigurations?
The nature of transportation is that everything is slightly interrelated, or everything is interrelated. Let me start that one over.
Yeah.
We're not live, are we?
Nope. No. You can start over as many times as you want.
All right. The nature of transportation is that everything is interrelated. Some things are more strongly related than others, but changes downstream or a few blocks away can have impacts on traffic volumes. And it's not always the impact that you might expect it to be. Sometimes a change in one area can make traffic decrease in another street, and sometimes it can make an increase on another street. So it really just depends. Any changes or closures to streets that are several blocks away are things that could have an impact, but we think that based on the traffic counts that we've seen for the area around, that it could be absorbed in the surrounding areas for Wausau Center that we're looking at. So we don't see any significant impacts that would occur right here around Wausau Center, but there could be some other impacts that would happen around the downtown area that should be looked at.